You know, something really pretty huge is happening in India right now.
Hmm.
For the first time in, well, almost a century, actually, the country's doing a full nationwide caste census.
Right. 1931 was the last one, wasn't it? Under British rule.
Exactly. And this new push, it's been talked about for, what, 14 years? Something like that. It's taken a long time to get here.
It really has. And the key thing, I think, is who hasn't been counted consistently since independence?
Yeah, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, SCs and STs, they've been in the regular census since like 1951.
But the other backward classes, the OBCs and the socially and educationally backward classes, SEBCs, they haven't. Not in the main census anyway.
Which is a massive chunk of the population, potentially. We just don't have the official numbers on a national scale.
And that's what makes this so potentially transformative. It's not just, ticking another box on a form.
No, not at all. This data could seriously shake things up. Policy, politics, how we even understand Indian society.
Imagine finally getting a clearer picture, a more detailed map, after relying on estimates or, well, older data for so long.
It really could change how affirmative action works, how parties campaign. It touches almost everything.
Which probably explains some of the hesitation over the years.
Definitely. That 1931 census, as you said, British era, it even included areas that are now Pakistan and Bangladesh.
Right, so the post-independence decision not to count these other caste groups, that was a specific choice with its own complex reasons back then.
Focused on SCs and STs, which was crucial, obviously, but it left this big gap for OBCs and others.
A gap that meant policies for these groups were often based on, well, educated guesses rather than hard numbers, like trying to navigate without a proper map.
Yeah, exactly. Like trying to solve a puzzle with, I don't know, half the pieces missing.
And what's kind of ironic maybe is that technically adding caste isn't that hard for the census takers, is it?
You'd think not. I mean, it's another category. You add OBC, SEBC, whatever subdivisions are decided on. The system can handle categories.
But it's never just technical, is it? It's intensely political.
Oh, absolutely. The implications of collecting it and especially releasing it, that's where it gets really sensitive.
It goes right to the heart of debates about social justice, representation, power, things that are, constantly being negotiated in India.
Which brings us to that 2011 attempt, the Socioeconomic and Caste Census, the SECC.
Ah, yes. That cost a lot of money.
Didn't it just? Like nearly 4,900 crore rupees. A huge investment.
Huge. And then the actual caste data never officially released.
Right. Some socioeconomic bits came out later, but the core caste numbers kept under wraps.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What did that data show? Why was it considered too, I suppose, politically explosive to release?
It really fuels speculation. It highlights just how cautious or perhaps nervous the government was about opening that particular box.
It was a real tightrope walk. The data was likely valuable, but the potential fallout was seen as too great, presumably.
So the fact that they're going ahead now with a full nationwide census, including caste, that suggests something's changed.
Either the pressure for data has become too strong to ignore, or maybe the political calculation itself has shifted. Perhaps a feeling that, well, we need this data now for effective governance.
Okay, so we're potentially getting this incredibly detailed, maybe even controversial data. On one side, it could be amazing for policy, right?
Absolutely. You could finally target welfare programs more effectively, understand inequality much better, maybe make affirmative action more evidence-based.
Tailor things to specific needs of different communities based on real numbers, not just broad categories or old estimates.
But then there's the other side, the political minefield.
Yeah, and the big one there is the reservation cap, isn't it? The 50% ceiling set by the Supreme Court back in '92.
Exactly. That's been a fundamental constraint on reservation policy for decades.
And current reservations, what are they? 22.5% for SCS/STs combined and 27% for OBCs.
Right. But that 27% for OBCs, it's based on those older figures we mentioned.
Like the Mandel Commission in 1980 estimated OBCs at 52%.
While the National Sample Survey Organization, the NSSO, in 2007 put it closer to 41%.
That's a huge range. It just shows how badly we need accurate current figures.
Precisely. How can you have a proper debate about whether 27% is fair or adequate, or whether the 50% cap makes sense, without knowing the actual population shares?
So if this new census shows, say, a much higher OBC percentage,
Then you can absolutely expect huge pressure to revisit that 50% cap. Intense political debate, legal challenges, the works.
It's like trying to run a company budget based on sales figures from 30 years ago. It just doesn't work.
And we're already seeing states move ahead on their own, which is interesting.
Bihar, yeah. They did their survey last year, 2023. What did that find?
It found that OBCs and extremely backward classes, EBCs, together made up about 63% of the state's population.
63%. Wow, that's significantly higher than the current national reservation quota suggests for OBCs.
It is. And Telangana has also done its own survey and published it. Karnataka did one too, though the report is still pending, I believe.
So these state surveys are kind of like previews, giving us a hint of what the national picture might look like.
They could be. They're certainly acting as precursors, showing the kinds of numbers that might emerge, and importantly, the kind of political reaction we might see nationally.
Protests, demands for increased quotas, legal fights. It could all follow.
Depending on the numbers, yes.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really brings it home how this isn't just abstract data for policymakers.
No, it impacts real people. Students applying for college, farmers needing support, anyone basically who cares about fairness in society. This affects you.
It's a chance maybe to get past assumptions and, loud arguments and actually look at the data to see where help is most needed.
Could lead to more targeted help for castes that are currently falling through the cracks, perhaps.
That's the hope, isn't it? That better data leads to better, more focused policy. And it might also force some unnecessary conversations about privilege and opportunity.
Potentially uncomfortable conversations, but maybe important ones.
Very likely. Understanding the real socioeconomic picture across different groups is crucial for any meaningful discussion about equity.
So here we are on the edge of getting this potentially game-changing data. The big question is, what happens next?
Will it push India towards being fair, providing the tools to tackle inequality head-on?
Or will it just stir up more division, become another source of political conflict?
It's the core tension, isn't it? The potential benefits versus the potential disruption.
And we still have that mystery hanging over us, the unreleased 2011 SECC data. What story does that tell? It feels like a missing piece.
It does, a lingering question mark. But looking forward, things to watch would be, say, the upcoming Bihar elections.
Yeah.
How does their state data play out there?
And the Justice Rahini Commission's work, right, on subcategorizing OBCs for reservation purposes. That report could be really significant too, especially combined with new census data.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Those will be key indicators. It's going to be fascinating and probably quite turbulent to see how this all unfolds in the coming years.
Absolutely. A really pivotal moment for India, no doubt about it.